Subsistence agriculture, the solution to food shortages in times of drought. Veterinary clinic wants pet owners to control animal breeding. And PNG LNG Kumuls beat Fiji but lose to Kangaroos.
This is National EMTV News with Marilyn Diao-Katam.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us for Sunday's news. Subsistence agriculture is the only solution to solve food shortages and hunger in the country in an event of drought or any other natural disasters. This message was echoed by agricultural institutions that gathered to commemorate the World Food Day celebrations in East New Britain province. The issues of climate change, large migrations of people and population boom has put the country at a point where food security has to be prioritized.
The World Food Day celebration that began on Friday and ended yesterday in East New Britain province brought together a group of thinkers. The University of Natural Resources and Environment played host to the two-day event. The theme of this year's World Food Day is Change the Future of Migration and Invest in Food Security and Rural Development. Besides the usual display of agricultural researchers, the key message that was delivered was how Papua New Guinea, as a country, should prepare to address problems relating to food shortages and hunger.
The only way you can do that is to increase food production with local foods. The world's major crops look like they have reached a plateau.
The migration of people, population boom coupled with the impacts of climate change and land shortages have created a whole new problem for the country. While most of these problems may seem complicated, the key solution to address these issues is subsistence agriculture.
And that brings economic problems and migration problems. The only way that we can achieve that is if we actually bring about similar increases in yield for the crops in places like PNG.
Census estimates have put the total population of Papua New Guinea at around 8 million men, women and children. Agriculture researchers have suggested that this figure will change in the next few years. Land will become scarce, natural disasters will strike, forcing people to migrate, and in order to survive, people will need food. But these challenges still lie largely unabated. Such as in 2015, the severe drought that hit the country has put a good challenge against agriculture institutions, the government and the people.
We can tackle many of the issues that cause people to migrate, particularly in rural areas, by increasing productivity, employment opportunities, and access to markets, knowledge, and financial services.
While agriculture institutions are making groundbreaking researches, financial constraints has been a major setback that prevented new farming innovations to reach the people who needed it the most. Agriculture institutions say the 2015 drought is not the first and it won't be the last. And to a larger extent, the authorities that are expected to fund and address these issues don't appear to be ready for it. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
The only veterinary clinic in the country is advising pet owners to have their pets desexed to control animal breeding. RSPCA has been conducting dog collections around NCD of sick and stray dogs that animal shelter cannot cater for all, as some are too sick to be taken care of. RSPCA held its annual Paws Walk in Port Moresby this morning with 260 people who registered for the walk.
Collection around Moresby for the NCDC, so all the sick and stray dogs we will pick up and we will take, and we will decide there whether the dog is worth, whether we can save them or not.
This is the 8th year for the Paws Walk, which aims to draw people together who share the vision and mission of the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. But being the only veterinary clinic in the country, RSPCA only receives funding and assistance from donors.
Well, we get no funding from everybody, from any government, so we rely on fantastic sponsors and donors and our clinic, which we run to help raise money, and our fundraiser. So it's a fundraiser as well today, but it's mainly about awareness.
Meanwhile, it was a big day out for canines and their owners in Port Moresby, who were up and early ready for the annual Paws Walk. It is probably the only time dog owners and their four-legged friends get the chance to walk together with other dogs and their owners.
Ease up. Ease up. Take still of the camera.
It took almost 2 hours. Others braved the distance with stopovers at water stations, while others didn't last too long. And for one in particular, it was a special day for him and his owner. It was both their birthdays today. Bear, a Siberian husky who turned 8 today, was the center of attention.
It's friendly. It's around people. It's friendly, but not around other things.
It was also a day out for the shelter dogs that joined in today. The animal shelter houses around 80 dogs and cats, all up for adoption.
Someone adopt this little doggy.
Member for Moresby Northeast John Cowper took time out yesterday to discuss electoral matters facing the people of Moresby Northeast. Some of the issues raised included relocation of settlements, health and education.
Member for Moresby Northeast and Minister for Housing and Urbanization John Cowper vowed to host all district development meetings for Moresby Northeast electorate in settlements during his term in office.
Plenty also meeting the hotel. No money is our pass mine. I stop because money blow districts. So we go away and I go away. All line blow district. Na electorate he got right lo sawelo. District money blow DSIP go lo one up. And budget blow people. Na money must go back lo development blow electorate blow. You me lo must be noticed.
Bushwara settlement outside of 9 Mile is the second settlement to host a joint district budget priority committee meeting. The member highlighted key areas of improvement, which included proper infrastructure, water and sanitation, as well as health and education.
But you use some digital money, DSIP, law at least working one legal project or carry water or carry power go inside. Or relocation, or you may have an item, or settlement, you mean, and make him also sours. So money is blood district, but you may use him, lo relocation exercise. Now lo subdivide him all ground blow you mean. Now ground blow state you may need lo todo one state, one justice sesengo na team. Mi blamas kiss him na make him security blow line blow you mean stop lo one settlement must strong na stop.
On the issue of settlement evictions, Cowper said relocation options will be looked at. He added the discussions have already begun with Lands Minister Justin Tchenko and NCT Governor Paws Walk. Meanwhile, the member explained the use of the 10 million Kina DSIP funds.
Development government emi panim finish. Money blow 10 million blow no spin most notice, but you will make sure that you have a permanent home and a title and a somewhere to live in.
There are also plans to build a DDA office in the electorate to host meetings where more people can participate instead of the usual hotel meetings. Godwin Eki, National MTV News.
You're in National MTV News this Sunday. More stories at home when we come back. Welcome back. Over 200 Pioneer Grade 12 students from St. Charles Lawanga in Port Moresby will be sitting their national examination tomorrow. They are amongst over 20,000 Grade 12 students in Papua New Guinea who will be sitting the exams.
The Grade 12 national exams will begin tomorrow and conclude on Friday, 20th of October. For students at St. Charles Luanga at Kangaroos Stage 2, they are the pioneers, and it will be the first time for the students to sit these exams.
This year we have the first lot of grade 12s sitting for the national exams. We have 105 of them, and we have 3 classrooms, one for science, social science, and the other one is for business.
The school was established as a vocational center but turned into a secondary because of the increase in student numbers continuing onto grades 9 and 12.
We upgraded the school into a higher secondary in 2016 and 17. This is the first batch of grade 12s.
Like most grade 12 schools in PNG, remedial lessons began in term 3 for these students. School principal Brother Jamon Matthew explained that this was the lot that topped the country when they set the grade 10 national exams in 2015.
This lot of students, when they were in grade 10, they topped the country by scoring 97.4%.
Morgan was the head boy when the school transitioned from a high school to a secondary in 2016.
The teachers are very committed with the staff and the admin. They're really encouraging too. They never miss a day. And we have remedials from 3 to 4 in the afternoon.
He says because his lot topped the country in the grade 10 national exams, they are doing their best in preparing for the grade 12 national exam.
Well, obviously there's a lot of pressure because they expect the same result from us, like in grade 10, but hopefully it turns out well.
He knows that there is high expectation for them to score good marks in these exams.
I wish all the best for our grade 12 students as they're sitting for the first time in the school. And also like to thank our governor who sponsored this building and who helped us in bringing up the school. He's the man behind us helping the school.
Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Men's role in addressing gender-based violence was the theme for the recent inaugural Men's Forum. And City Governor Paws Walk, who was the guest speaker at the opening of the forum, said it is not only a women's agenda to pursue. He said men having forums to discuss the issue was the missing jigsaw puzzle in combating GBV.
The term gender-based violence is used to cover the umbrella term for any harmful act that is perpetrated against a person's will and is based on socially recognized gender differences between males and females. Governor Parkop says the only reason why GBV is high with women is only because of their gender and vulnerability.
They're getting amputated, they're getting burned alive, they're getting tortured just because they are women. It's not because of any other reason, because they're guilty of something. Because men, we are equally guilty. But who is punished and who is victimized? Or maybe they are punished and victimized because they are women. Let's just look at one equation. The allegation against sorcery. Anybody has ever had any man being accused of sorcery and tortured and banned at the stake? No, God, it's because they are a woman. They get accused. They get victimized instantly, and they inflicted punishment, pain, and horror.
Governor Parkop is a human rights lawyer by profession and spoke with experience on the challenges of addressing gender-based violence.
Before I came to Parliament, I did a lot of awareness and workshop, crisscrossing the length and breadth of our country. And in these 42 years, we have not overcome this challenge. In fact, it's getting worse. The prevalence of gender-based violence is increasing at an alarming level, despite all this effort.
He said there has been a lot of work done by communities, NGO, and the government, and the fact is they have been addressing the wrong crowd.
We have been getting it wrong. We have been leaving it to women of our country, who have been the victims mainly, who have been the survivors, who've been crying out there on their own, trying to take up this challenge, trying to alert us. And they've done a lot of work. The Community and Sexual Violence Action Committee has been existing a long time. Gentlemen.
Governor Parkop went on to say there will be a change if only people's mindset and values change.
Now, we must come to terms. As I stated from the outset, it's not a woman's problem. It's not a woman's agenda, and they are not the ones who will give us the solution. We the men, we are the ones who will give the solution. We will solve this problem. It starts with us. Our mindset, our behavior, our habit, our value system, our virtue system. That's what will help us to overcome this problem.
The inaugural Men's Forum had men fly in from all over Papua New Guinea and held discussions on government and private companies' role in also addressing gender-based violence. Adelaide Sirok Kari, National, EMTV News.
The Wantok Counselling Helpline is in its second year of operation and has overwhelming statistics for victims of gender-based violence. They provide counseling over the telephone and also assist in getting victims in touch with service providers like hospitals, police or safe houses. Statistics collected over the 2 years show that the top issue was family and sexual violence.
In 2 years in operation, and the Wantok Counselling Helping Line has counselled 1,400 clients.
And if they present a case, then we record the cases and then we make referral to service providers. But before we make referral, we call and confirm that the service providers are there or the person that is going to attend the case is there. We call the service providers and know that the cases will be referred to your services. So then they said, we are here, we will take the cases or we will take the clients in. So
they recently held a workshop in Port Moresby to see the best way forward for the hotline, that is a free toll number. The statistics showed Central Province had the highest number of calls, only because of intensive awareness by social workers.
Provided crisis counselling to over 1,400 clients. Our counsellors have provided safety planning to over 600 clients and suicide intervention to 26 clients. This is all in the first 2 years of operation. They've provided information and education to over 4,000 client callers. So that tells us that in a way people are drawing on the hotline to learn more about the problem of gender-based violence, or to learn more about, if I did have a problem in the future, what are the kind of services that I could access, or sometimes to learn, what is the law, what.
In more than half of the GBV cases reported to the hotline, the perpetrators were an intimate partner.
Most violence is perpetrated within the family, and that in most cases it's intimate partner violence.
But more awareness on the hotline is needed to allow people who are victims know there is a counsellor a call away, and also better training for counsellors to handle different situations.
A lot of work, it still is doing a lot of work, and I think we need to come up with a plan to sustain it. It is important to bring together different services and service providers, as no one, we believe, should be operating in isolation. Survivors of gender-based violence need access to a range of services. We all know that. They need emergency safe houses, they need medical services, psychological care, legal care, etc., etc. The hotline is playing a key role in connecting people to different services they need.
Adelaide Sirok Kari, National, EMTV News.
The Miss Pacific Islands pageant will continue its program to sponsor female students attending various tertiary institutions in the country. Chairperson Molly O'Rourke told EMTV News on Wednesday that the scholarship has so far assisted more than 190 students.
The Miss Pacific Islands Papua New Guinea pageant has so far spent 600,000 kina worth of sponsorship on their scholarship program. This funding is made available by their partnership with the National Gaming Control Board.
Throughout this partnership, we have assisted over 192 young women in various tertiary institutions across the country. Miss Pacific Islands pageant and the National Control Gaming Board has contributed over 600,000 in sponsorship towards this scholarship fund.
National Gaming Control Board CEO Imelda Argon also commended the work of the pageant team while presenting another 250,000 kina boost.
I just want to also acknowledge the efforts of the committee. I mean, really, it's your efforts that make a difference. We only come to give in terms of financial contribution. But you, the committee under the chairmanship of Molly O'Rourke and a team, are the ones that are behind the scenes, and are making a difference.
The pageant, into its 6th year, has become a platform to promote equality and justice through education and confidence. One of those skills is public speaking.
We also have a partnership with the PNG Toastmasters, and that partnership also goes back about six years. And last Sunday was a very proud moment for Miss Pacific Islands through that partnership, where we were able to witness the in-house program that the Toastmasters provided for our contestants for the last 6 weeks. They had a graduation ceremony on Saturday.
This year's entrants are 4 participants. Harry Agimbari, National EMTV News.
Making your cultural heritage an important part of your family legacy and identifying yourself as part of an ethnic group from within your province is important in Papua New Guinea. The Western Province to the southern border of PNG and Northern or Oro Province celebrated their Cultural Day yesterday with much enthusiasm.
The Western Province community in Port Moresby gathered at the Constitutional Park yesterday to showcase and celebrate their cultural heritage in a simple but entertaining way. Like all native Papua New Guineans, the people of Western Province have realized the importance of preserving their cultural heritage, values and traditions with a sense of pride that inspires their younger generation to embrace wholeheartedly.
Saya belum belana, mi amamaslos so kisim culture belum mi. Emblo Western Province bad inda insalo middle North Fly area chol bailugim. Ferablo kasuarina bedo paradise. Okay, all sales sell blow wara fly river and black sina. Okay, sell mi plus very sell kambang. So this is the very unique thing in the North Fly area, especially the Yongom tribe.
Our culture is so die out, especially our tribe, which is Yongom tribe, and the dressing also is fading away. So this is the chance for us to show this culture out, our dressing and our song.
In some other parts of the world, cultural heritage is usually thought of as a collection of material things like monuments, sculptures and other artifacts. For Papua New Guineans, cultural heritage really entails more than that. Elsewhere, the Northern Province also held their provincial days celebrated with a huge turnout. The Sir John Guy's Avenue, packed with painted faces and famous Oro Tapa designs on woven bags and t-shirts on display. As the sun begins to set, the traditional dancers from various parts of the province sang and danced to the beat of the kundu drum. Maintaining one's culture and identity intact may seem difficult with the influence of Western lifestyle and predominant culture we live in.
Of course it is. As you can see, the group came with very young boys and girls. Some of them their first time to be in the dancing in public places like this. But we have to teach them to bring them up so that they will know their cultural dance. Will be gone, but they are here for the future.
Shane Saroya, National EMTV News.
You're with Sunday's News, stories making headlines overseas when we come back. Welcome back. Turning overseas, firefighters continue to struggle to contain wildfires spreading across California. At least 40 people have lost their lives and hundreds are still missing.
Expected to stir 17 separate infernos with several thousand extra firefighters deployed in the north of the state. The poor conditions have forced the evacuation of 400 homes. The wind-driven blazes, which erupted last week in the heart of California's renowned wine country, have destroyed nearly 6,000 homes. A huge truck bomb has rocked the Somali capital Mogadishu, killing at least 30 people and injuring dozens of others. The truck packed with explosives was detonated in the K5 junction, where many government offices, hotels and restaurants are located. Several buildings and dozens of cars were destroyed. Rescuers combed through the rubble looking for survivors. Witnesses described it as one of the biggest explosions in the city for years. The Islamist Al-Shabaab group is believed to be behind the attacks.
North Korea has criticized Australia for supporting America's tough stance on Pyongyang and says if it continues to do so, disaster will happen. Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop personally expressed her support for the US to consider all options, including the use of force towards North Korea. Meanwhile, senior analyst with the Strategic Policy Institute in Australia, Dr. Malcolm Davis, says Australia shouldn't give too much thought.
The North Koreans, they do it very well in terms of blistering rhetoric, but we really shouldn't pay too much attention to it for a number of reasons. Firstly, we have obligations which we take very seriously under ANZUS and under the United Nations Command. And we're not the sort of state to shirk on those obligations. And so if North Korea does indeed threaten South Korea and the United States, I think that it's important that Australia meets up to its obligations and stands shoulder to shoulder with the Americans. Secondly, I think that the North Korean threats of disaster, we shouldn't worry too much about. Yes, they could technically deliver a nuclear warhead against Australia, but they couldn't do so with accuracy. And they have far more pressing commitments in any wartime scenario for the very limited number of nuclear warheads that they have, around about 60, than to use one against Australia. So I think that we should maintain a strong alliance with the US and maintain strong resolve to confront North Korea and prevent them from threatening its neighbours. Obviously, they're exploiting that. You know, the fact that you had Julie Bishop and Maurice Payne at the DMZ in Panmunjom. I think the North Koreans watched that. I know because I've been to Panmunjom myself, and you stand about 40 or 50 feet away from the border, and across the border there are North Korean soldiers watching you. So yes, they are using the Foreign Minister and the Defence Minister's appearance to, shall we say, try and split the US and Australia by intimidating us, and we shouldn't give in to that sort of intimidation. Everyone understands that a diplomatic solution that leads to denuclearization of the North Koreans would be infinitely preferable to war. We have to aim towards getting North Korea to give up its nuclear weapons capability and its long-range missile capabilities and to stop threatening its neighbours. If we can do that through diplomacy and bargaining, that's good. If we can't, then we have to be prepared to defend and protect our allies.
10 days since the scandal began, disgraced producer Harvey Weinstein has been expelled from one of Hollywood's most elite organizations. The board behind the Oscars voted overwhelmingly to dub Mr. Weinstein from the Academy, saying it's the end of an era of shameful complicity in sexual predatory behavior in the film industry.
Which has hidden Hollywood's darkest secrets has now been peeled back. Harvey Weinstein was credited with over 81 Oscar wins and over 300 nominations, awards which now seem tarnished. This is a key moment for an industry which stands accused of developing a culture which made women feel that exploitation was a price they had to pay to get a job.
Harvey's not in the Academy because everyone thought he was a nice guy or even played fair. It's because he's been a genius at picking and promoting films. And so in that way, he's helped a lot of filmmakers. Now, he's also proved that he had another life as a sexual predator. And that hurts so many people.
British actress Alice Evans is the latest star to claim Weinstein propositioned her. They met in 2002 at the Cannes Film Festival. She says he asked her to go to a bathroom with him because he wanted to feel her breasts. She said no. She said that something about the whole encounter makes me feel like I've let him down. I can't help the feeling that I'm the one who's behaved badly here and that somehow I'll be made to pay.
The next time they met, she says, Weinstein ignored her and that she was never considered for one of his films ever again. Nor was her husband, the actor Ioan Gruffudd.
Harvey Weinstein's downfall has been swift. The New York Times first reported the allegations earlier this month. Mr. Weinstein apologised, but also said he would sue. As the claims continued, Mr. Weinstein was sacked by his own company. And just days later, 13 more women published their stories in the New Yorker magazine, including 3 accusations of rape, which Mr. Weinstein strongly denies. There is now at least a realisation in Hollywood that if change is to come, simply shrugging or looking the other way is no longer enough.
In 1967, a small group of locals in far north Queensland began a mighty battle to stop mining and oil drilling in the Great Barrier Reef. They had no idea the tiny grassroots movement would become an international campaign. And now, 50 years on, the original campaigners are returning to dive where it all began.
1967, Mission Beach residents found a notice in the local paper for an application to mine lime from this reef to make cheap fertiliser, claiming the reef was dead. And they launched a campaign to stop the plan. Eddie Hegel was a penniless 22-year-old marine researcher when he came to help out. He first dived here when he led a survey to prove the reef was very much alive and well, and the bid to mine Ellison Reef was stopped.
Oh, very much a thriving reef. At the time, I think I got about 167 species of fish or something like that.
But within a year, the Queensland government began a push to open the entire Great Barrier Reef for oil drilling.
Now, there's been no scientific evidence ever submitted that crude oil will destroy coral.
The small group of campaigners dug in and they drove an international campaign over 12 years. Australians heard them and demanded the reef be protected. 5 years ago, some of the campaigners returned here to mark the 45-year anniversary of the fight and found signs of damage from storm and crown-of-thorns starfish. Since then, the sea temperature has been warmer, there have been 2 consecutive bleaching events and several cyclones. This weekend, they're here for the 50th anniversary and they're calling on Australians to demand more action to protect the reef once again.
The PNG LNG Kumuls leave Fiji but is nothing but goes down to the Kangaroos in the Tri-Nation Series. Details in Chukai Sports when we come back.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. The PNG LNG Kumuls' epic clash against Fiji Butties and Australian Kangaroos in the Tri-Series puts them on a good stead heading into the World Cup, which is less than 14 days away. The test match gives an insight on Kumuls coach Michael Marum to pick his best 18-man squad to run out on the pitch in the opener against Wales.
The Tri-Nation Series allowed all 3 nations to utilize all their players with unlimited exchange during the entire duration of the game. This gives Coach Michael Marum and his coaching staff a chance to try out different combinations across the 2 40-minute halves. James Seguiaro, however, was ruled out of the match as he recovers from a hand injury. Wartovo Puara Jr. started the hook and roll with some impressive combinations with assistant skipper Ase Boas. The pair combined in the 36th minute to set up a hard-running Luke Page to seal off a 10-0 win over Fiji after skipper David Mead's try. On the wings, Justin Nolam and Gary Lowe put up some solid defense, preventing some close try attempts from Fiji. Lachlan Lamb came off the bench against Australia and was quite impressive, combining well with Watson Boas in the halves. Rhys Martin also put up a strong performance, sneaking in and around the rocks, causing havoc for the Kangaroos, eventually scoring the only try for the Kumuls, despite going down to the Australians 20-4. Fiji, on the other hand, went through the competition scoreless, conceding a total of 28 points, 10 from Papua New Guinea and 18 against the Australians. Shane Saroya, National MTV Sports.
To golf, and Telecom PNG's golf pennant is underway in Port Moresby. The launching of the event was held at Port Moresby Golf Club. 12 teams will take part in this round.
This is the 10th round of Telecom pennants for all Port Moresby's based golf club of 12 company-sponsored teams. All the players are excited because they will be in the final round next month.
It's quite a unique event where 12 major companies sponsor teams. And as you can see inside, there's quite a few players. It's very exciting. We're down to the final round next month.
Team Elamoto's captain, Chris Von Oplin, thanked major sponsor Telecom for sponsoring this event. He says it's a great honor and privilege to take part in this Telecom-sponsored event. For this round, Stallion Dragon is in the top of the ladder with 57 points. Trailing behind with 49 points is Bank South Pacific, and on the third placing is QPR at Aranu.
It'll come to extraordinary golfing talent. So I think if the second place team can win at least 6 of their 7 last matches, they've got a chance to knock them off.
Mr. Oplin says there are 4 teams bunched with 2 points difference. It's going to be an interesting finish, and there are going to be a lot of excitement for the last round comes November 12th. Eric Arupma, National MTV Sports.
Still to come in Trukai Sports, we have tennis, football and netball. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back. In tennis, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer will write the latest chapter in their rivalry story. They will play in tonight's final of the Shanghai Masters.
Top 2 men's players in the world will meet in a final for the 24th time. Top-ranked Nadal had a straight sets win over Marin Cilic to advance to the decider. Federer came from a set down to beat Juan Martín del Potro in his semi-final and has won the past 4 meetings against the Spaniard.
I am playing well. I am in a good run of victories, so let's see. I hope to be ready for it.
Rafa's been playing extremely well. He's on a 15+ match winning streak. Hardly dropped his serve yet, except maybe once today throughout the whole tournament. So maybe it's up to me to really make the plays, even though I did win the last few. So I just think because it's playing fast, got to play your game, got to come forward, got to take it to your opponent, and then we'll see what happens. But it's exciting, of course, playing Rafa again.
Australia's 7th seed, Daria Gavrilova, will face Russian Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova in today's final of the Hong Kong Tennis Open. Gavrilova breezed past American Jennifer Brady 6-love, 7-5 to reach her 3rd final of the year.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've done well every year here. I've done quarters and semis, and now I'm in the final, so I'm pretty happy with the way I played today.
To football, a chartered plane at the cost of nearly $1 million New Zealand dollars is among the options being considered to take the All Whites to Peru for next month's World Cup qualifier. Wellington will host the first leg on Saturday, November 11, before the team heads to Lima, Peru for the return leg on November 16. The focus now is their ticket to Russia.
Getting the All Whites to South America for a World Cup playoff was always going to be challenging. But first things first, confirmation of the home fixture on November 11 means the coach gets his wish.
So important that we play on the Saturday, so I'm really pleased at the outcome.
It gives Hudson the best chance of having his top players available, including Ryan Thomas. But logistically, the nightmare of the second leg is just starting for New Zealand football.
Right now, the focus is how do we get out of New Zealand Saturday night, Sunday, so that we're ready when we get to Peru.
They've already had one leg up with football's world governing body FIFA allowing the second match in Lima to be played outside the international window to give the teams more time to prepare. But All Whites coach Anthony Hudson's remaining upbeat about only having 4 full days between matches.
The Solomon Islands game where we've got players landing on the Wednesday and the Thursday, we're playing on the Friday. the jet lag and all that. So listen, this is actually probably the best scenario.
The option of a chartered plane is already firmly in the minds of New Zealand football, but it doesn't come cheap. Going down that route would cost anywhere between $500,000 and $900,000.
You know, I don't know where we are with that yet, but certainly for a long time now we've been pushing to try and do things, whatever we need to do to prepare properly. So, yeah, this is something that we're looking at the moment.
While New Zealand football worry about getting the side to Peru, Westpac Stadium CEO Shane Harmon's only concern is putting on the best possible event in Wellington.
Yeah, it's been coming a long time, so to have a date and a kick-off time set allows people to make plans and get ready for Wellington on the 11th of November.
5,000 extra seats will be added to Westpac Stadium, with 10,000 already on the wait list for tickets. The crowd at the Cape Town hoping to send the All Whites on their tricky journey to Peru with their tails up.
One of New Zealand's top netball coaches has questioned the woman currently in charge of the Silver Ferns. The New Zealand side suffered a serious whitewash in the Constellation Cup against Australia.
It may be holiday time for our national netballers, but the Silver Ferns won't be doing much relaxing.
We know where Aussie are at and we know where we're at the moment, so yeah, summer training is going to be very difficult.
The Ferns crashed to a 16-goal loss in Sydney last night, and star shooter Maria Tutaia admitted the team's gone backwards after last month's Quad Series win.
I think that us beating them was a fluke by 10 points.
Former player and respected coach Mark Foster has questioned South B's selections.
Literally, when I watched the third game of this Constellation Cup, every player bar one was actually out of their position.
Goal shoot is obviously not a position that I'm very familiar with. I used to play it when I first started, but as the years have gone on, goal attack has been the one that I long for.
Feeding Tutaia and the shooters is also an issue. Southby says the young mid-quarters are still finding their feet at the top level, but don't expect to see the Australian-based Laura Langman back in Blake anytime soon.
Australia fear her. I mean, they're just laughing. They're laughing at us. I mean, but hello.
And we're all on record as saying it's an appalling decision. And you look at this Kiwi team, and yeah, there's plenty of talented players, but they do need a leader through the middle, and that's the difference that someone like a Laura Langman would make in the close matches.
Right now, even their leaders are a bit unsure, just 5 months out from the Commonwealth Games.
We were hoping we'd be a little bit further ahead. We would have at least won one game against Aussie. It just shows that, one, hopefully Aussie's going to be complacent, and we 100% will not be.
If not, the Ferns will need to get used to this site.
That's it on Chukai Sports. The weather details for tonight and tomorrow when we come back.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
And now looking at the weather forecast for tonight, in the southern region, a shower or two for Port Moresby, thundery showers in Kerama, and mostly fine in Alatau, Popondetta and Darrow.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
And that's the news this Sunday, the 15th of October 2017. From the entire EMTV News team, I'm Marilyn Diakotam. Pleasant viewing and good night.